So the objectives for tonight are three, just to give an overview of what our committee is going to be doing over the next three times that we meet together, or any conversation that, we choose to have informally in between. We're going to talk about possible topics of discussion. And the reason why I said possible is because, again, for those of you that may have attended the first kind of interest meeting in the in the spring of last year, there were some topics that were brought up as things that people were interested in discussing, but anything's on the table. So tonight, for those of you that are here, we will continue to offer additional topics for discussion if as we need to. And then of course to spend time talking just to hear feedback from you. But essentially, we want to meet who's here. We kind of started doing that already with the people who joined a little bit early, but we want to make sure that every voice is in the room. So, welcome to you. You see the 15 people that were selected as part of the Technology Advisory Committee this year. So, hopefully, you see your name. We have a few people from IT that are here who may stop in over time. So every name that's here tonight isn't necessarily represented, but they will be here over time. So I'll start just by setting the tone. My name is Kim. If you see at the top, tell us your name, your relationship with Prince George's County, why you wanted to participate in the committee, so everyone else knows, and anything else that you want to share with us, whatever that, if it's a fun fact, if it's, anything else that you might want to share. But I'm really, really excited about the people that were selected. I think we did a really good job, or I tried to do a really good job of being representative of our diverse community. We have parents here. We have parents who are clearly community members who maybe work in the industry. We have lots of different staff members who represent academics, assistive technology, special education, grants. So from a lot of different places within our district. So I'm excited that you're here so that you can give your unique needs. I'm always excited to see Enoch because he tends to be our student. But I do have an update about that because I met another student recently, and we're going to do a focus group of just students outside of this group, but that will lend their voices to the work that we do. We just couldn't get them to come for the 3 nights this week, so or this year. But we're glad that you're here. I'm the director of technology integration and support, which essentially means that the people in our department, I have three offices within my department. One office is the IT service desk, or some people know them as the help desk. They provide remote support via phone or email to various staff members throughout the district. I also have the technology support services, which they are responsible for hardware, essentially repair, things of that nature. So your student devices, yes, you can talk to us about that. And then finally, the technology training team, also known internally as T3, they are the team that's responsible for providing training to individuals across the district. Anything else you want to know about me? I have been in Prince George's County Public Schools for 23 years, in public education for 29 years, I think, somewhere in there. I'm originally from North Carolina, so my background is an elementary educator. I taught third, fourth, fifth, sixth grade in elementary in Prince George's County for years, so that's my background. And somewhere down the line, I fell in love with technology. Realistically, it was because I saw my boys checking out of school in like between third and fourth grade. They just lost interest in school, and I was looking for a way to bring them on board, to get them interested and being connected to learning. I mean, we would do all kinds of fun stuff, playing games, running all around the classroom, but then I needed something different. So I went back and started to pursue instructional technology as my background, and took several routes within that. So I landed here. So I had several positions between classroom teacher to now, but that kind of gives you a background about who I am and why I'm here, really to engage with you. But you'll hear more about that in just a minute. Enough about me. Anybody else that wants to jump in, feel free to do that, or we can just represent ourselves. So I'm going to stop sharing because I'd love to see all your faces as much as possible. So I'll stop sharing and just let you introduce yourselves.
Hello, I'm Sasha Taylor Blades. I've been teaching since 2000. Um, I've been using technology in my classroom since my first year of teaching. I kind of just, I don't know, it seemed natural to me. I am a teacher here in the district. I've been teaching in PG County since 2004 with a small little break in between. I literally just left my classroom. I was setting up some things for tomorrow, and I heard the alert on my calendar. I was like, "Oh shoot, I got to get home." I ran out the classroom. Still have a couple things to finish, but I'm here.
Yay.
Excited because I really like using technology, and the kids I teach have never seen life without the technology that we have in our classrooms, and I want to make sure that I am able to integrate it into their lessons so that they know how to use it.
Thank you, Sasha. You want to call somebody else? We'll
Nope.
do that. Okay. All right.
I'll go. I'll volunteer.
Wonderful.
My name is Leah Anuha. You can just call me Leah. But yes, I wear many hats. One of those hats is definitely a parent of two PGCPS children. One is in seventh grade at Benjamin D. Falloy, and one is fourth grade at Accokeek. But we've also been at Brandywine Elementary. We've been at Imagine Andrews before. So even with two kids, I've been at four schools. So I've got to see kind of a gambit of different PGCPS administrations, classrooms, things like that. I also have a 15-year career in IT, currently a program director for a government contractor here in the area, mostly supporting the Census Bureau in my programs. So we do software development mostly, and systems engineering. So I definitely have, I have background there and can provide insight. I'm also a minister, so I wear that hat as well. And I'm the philanthropy chair at my company, so we are also donators to
Good
PGCPS.
to know.
Yes,
Thank
good to
you.
know. Yes,
Wonderful. Thank you so
yes,
much.
you're welcome. Yeah, and so I guess the reason how I got involved or even knew there was this, department is because my daughter had some issues with into some things she shouldn't be getting into in her on her school computer. And so I was actually very impressed with the response that I got from Kim and her team. And it made me a major PGCPS fan, So I actually moved this summer and made sure I moved in the county and not out the county.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. I'm a
Thank
fan.
you.
All right, I will call on somebody. I don't mind. Let me see.
Wonderful.
I will call on Dr. McCurdy Wright.
Hi, everyone. Um, I'm Dr. Nagasti McCurdy Wright. I work in strategic planning and resource management in the Sasser building. Prior to that, well, this is my 10th year in Prince George's County Public School. And I won't say how many years I've actually been in education, but it's been a long time. So I've worked in DCPS, Florida. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. And I wanted to be a part of this committee for two reasons. As the grants development specialist, I think that it's important for me to step out of literally my cubicle from behind the emails so that I have a better understanding of the needs of the county as I seek out grants and funding opportunities on behalf of the county. So as you know, technology is advancing, I'd like to be a part of the conversations within the county so that I'm making at least the best decisions that I can in collaboration with others for our county. And the second reason is I am primarily behind a computer all day. all night. And prior to being the grants development specialist, I was a community schools coordinator. I was a special educator. I was an assistant principal. And I realized that I really miss people. I really, really miss people. So I go to the schools when I can. So any opportunity I can to talk and I'm jumping on it because I didn't realize how much I really enjoyed being around students and teachers and, all the time. And a lot of what I do, I'm in an office and I'm just typing away and things like that. So when I saw the opportunity, I was like, oh, whoa. And
Yay.
was that it?
Whatever you want to share. Sure.
Oh, interesting fact.
Yes.
Um, Interesting fact. It is, what time is it? It's 6:12, and I promised my children ice cream if they were quiet while I was in the bathroom. So you don't hear them. You might see my eyes wander. But they are like, we are getting this ice cream. So they've just been like, homework done, they ate dinner, and they're being so good.
I love it. Love it. Thank you. Do you want to call somebody else or?
Yes, I am
Okay.
going to call Lisa Stewart.
Hi, my name is Lisa Stewart. It actually says Elizabeth on that sheet, but I go by Lisa. That's my nickname. I am the visual arts supervisor for the county. This is my 26th year in education. I've been in Prince George's County now for 8 or 9 years. I was in Montgomery County previously. I was an elementary art teacher, back in 1998 when I started teaching. And my purpose for being here is I run a project in Prince George's County called Project Creativity. It is bringing iPads to over 3,000 iPads to our computer graphics, media arts, photography, and CTE students, and they get to take their iPads home with them and use all the Adobe apps on them. So I love technology as a tool to bring students more creativity. So I'm like the creativity, like I'm going to talk about creativity all the time and ways that we can use technology to increase our students' creativity. And my fun fact is 2 weeks ago, I defended my dissertation and I'm now Dr. Stewart.
Yay! Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Dr. Stewart.
Thank you.
All right. You want to call somebody else?
I'm going to call on Tim Timonius.
Good afternoon. Thanks, Lisa. Timonius Downing from Curriculum Instruction, specifically from the Language and Literacy Office. I'm an instructional specialist there. I've been in the county 25 years. You probably say, oh, he looks so young. I know, except for all these grays in my beard. Prior to being I've been in central office now for 8 years. Prior to that, I was an English language arts teacher in middle school for 8 years. And then prior to that, I was an elementary teacher for 8 years. So a good balance between elementary and middle. I'm a lover of technology. It's just been that way. I've incorporated it, in my instruction. And over the past, I guess, wow, maybe about 7 or 8 years, our office collaborated with the technology training team and Kim and her wonderful folks to help train our professional development lead teachers and our engagement and technology leads. And so when I saw this opportunity, I felt like it was a good way to continue that conversation, that collaboration we already have. But I guess part of me also thinks about, like, in education, when it comes to technology, there are those pivotal moments in time that sort of changes how instruction takes place, whether it was like the introduction of the iPad or when we all got Chromebooks. And I feel like we're at the cusp of that again with like this integration of AI and how do we use it effectively and what policies are there and how do we use it with our students and how do we help inform parents. So I figured that would be a place for curriculum instruction to be well represented and be part of that conversation as we think about its usefulness and its design in helping instruction and helping students. Fun fact, let's see, my birthday was on Thanksgiving.
Oh, happy birthday.
So thank you. We had way too much food, and I didn't feel like it was a day off because I really worked because we hosted
Mm,
Thanksgiving. So my wife did make up for me, and we went to a steakhouse on Sunday, and we went to a comedy show. So that was fun.
nice. Thank you, Tim.
All right.
All right. You want to call somebody or you want to leave it open?
Let's see. I will call Miss Holloway.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Holloway. I'm the accessibility specialist, and I work out of the Department of Special Education Instructional Supports Assessments and Accountability. And most things accessibility, I do. From just managing our special education website, making sure we're 508 compliant, to trying to spread the word about accessibility in the district. And I don't know, I've always been interested since I began teaching. I was a corporate convert. And when I started teaching, um, I learned about assistive technology. And I first started teaching in Georgia. And it was the first year they had like this exit exam. And I was teaching a classroom of students that were just identified as having, a learning disability. And so there was one kid who was brilliant, but he couldn't get out because he couldn't pass the high school exam because he had dysgraphia. But back then, nobody knew anything about dysgraphia. And so that kind of is what thrust me into the educational technology world. And so I'm here tonight because I believe that technology can be the great equalizer if used appropriately.
If used
And
appropriately.
so, as an accessibility specialist, I would love to be able to have input and discuss ideas around more accessibility for all, and really making sure that the individuals that we serve are able to access whatever they need to access and however they need to access that.
That's important. Thank you so much, Jennifer. All right. We're down to, I think, 4 more people left. So I'm just going to call on Felicia if that's okay.
That's fine. So, good evening. I'm Felicia Greer. Let me see. I work in the deaf and hard of hearing program. I'm a RELA teacher. I've also taught social studies to students. Originally, I started with PG County. I want to say 1998. I was a teacher at Laurel High School, so my background's a little different. I started working in my degree originally was in fashion merchandising, so I started working in what they called family and consumer science now, and that was home ec back then. And at the same time, I was a sign language interpreter because I love working in the language. So I transitioned from that into being a sign language interpreter, contracting with PG County Schools in the deaf and hard of hearing program. And then eventually I left that and ended up actually becoming a teacher in the program to work. Then as I started going along, I have my degree in instructional technology because technology is where we're headed. That's it. As far as education, the classroom is evolving, and I believe we need to evolve with it. I also believe that we need to also teach our students that technology needs to be used as a tool, because sometimes they're used for entertainment and they don't know how to access certain things, and they have resources available to them, but because they haven't been introduced and don't know how, they don't have that opportunity. I'm trying to learn how to engage more with other committees and in my school. So I'm kind of the what do they call it? I'm kind of flying underneath the radar. So we have events and I create flyers and I do this and I put stuff up and I have ideas that I tell people we could do and all around, and they send to work with it, and I kind of work underneath in between doing things. But I enjoy that part. And as far as technology, I enjoy really allowing my students an opportunity to access it. Equity and accessibility makes a difference, especially with students. Sometimes, there are things within our school system that need to be adjusted that not only would be beneficial to deaf students, but all students. And I've been learning as I go through the curriculum and as we bring things to the attention, I've become an advocate and form and technology in my school building and outside of my school building in order to do it, and also with parents. So I think I joined because I wanted to give a chance to say, oh, well, let's try this. Maybe we'll see
I love
how this
that.
goes. And I said, if I get accepted, wonderful. If I don't, I'll just keep right on doing what I'm doing and hopefully it'll come one day. But it's just good. I guess, working with my team at school to ensure that my students know how to access it, working through it every day. And it's important. And I've also come across a couple issues that the IT person in my building couldn't answer. And then the things I ask about, just being inquisitive, and ideas that my school has started trying to, incorporate. So, oh, okay. And then, okay, Ms. Holloway, thank you. So that's one of the reasons. I'm trying to think of a fun fact. My mother's birthday was the 26th. So usually around Thanksgiving, she's like, I don't want to go out because it's all the food and everything that we had. But we all she wanted was cheesecake. So we took a ride down to Annapolis and got her a slice of cheesecake for her birthday. And I think it made her day. So that made my day because it made her day, and it's been great. So it's
Wonderful.
definitely nice being a part of the team. I'm looking forward to working with everybody and learning from everyone.
Me too. Thank you. Enoch.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Enoch. I am a senior at Flowers High School. I think the reason I joined was because one, of course, this opportunity was granted to me, but I had to take it because I'm like, who doesn't want to be, make decision regarding how technology is used, especially with, having the opportunity to sit in like a pre-session about, our next school max, because as someone who has been very, interested in their grades, logging in every day to something that looks very dry, boring, not, familiar, not as fun as how my other friends in other school systems, it was like, okay, so I get to, vote. And I'm happy enough that, the one I liked the most was actually the one that, got
Good
proposed to the
job.
board. So, but overall, I'm here because I think it's really important, like I tell everyone, when we make decisions that impact our student, that we have student representation at those tables. And as someone who serves on the student member of the board advisory council, part of the PGRAS, which is our student government search for the student council, and someone who formerly served on Dr. Ghost and CEO advisory council, I think I have the experience from different backgrounds of how to really, put different perspectives, especially with the fact that at the end of the day, my opinion is kind of also a reflection of all the other students, being the only other student on here. So it's really important that, I make sure I also engage with my student peers on how they feel about certain stuff, and really just making sure that when I leave as a senior, that, at least I know I made a difference in our county, and hopefully one day I can come back and work here because, I plan on becoming a principal one day. So,
Okay. All right.
yeah. But a fun fact, I guess we could say my birthday's next week, Thursday. I guess
Oh,
this is a
yay. Well,
birthday, so
happy
yeah.
birthday, since we'll miss it next Thursday. But
Thank you.
we're so glad that you're here, Enoch. I will say I tried again really hard to get student representation here. Unfortunately, I did not get that many. You were the person, the student who you showed an interest. However, I did meet a gentleman who is part of the Student Advisory Council this week for a different issue. So, what we discussed, and perhaps we can join together in this with the other student, I'm just having a focus group with just students to raise issues with them. So, I think outside of this group, since I couldn't get them to commit, perhaps we can have a separate time just with students. All right. Lisa, and then Jackson, and I know Miss Millhouse just joined. So we'll do the introductions and we'll keep moving forward. Go ahead, Lisa.
Hi. I'm Lisa Wright. I also work in the Department of Special Education with Jennifer, except I work in programs and services, and I'm the instructional specialist for the Vision program. We serve all of the students throughout the county that have that are blind or visually impaired. I'm on this committee because the students that I work with, technology can be a game changer for them, but it can also be a barrier. So as I know Jennifer mentioned about things about accessibility, and I heard Ms. Greer also mention about the barriers that can sometimes come into play. I think that it's important that when we're looking at the future of technology, that we make sure we're inclusive of all students and all of their needs are met. I don't have a fun fact.
It's
so-
okay. You don't have to.
No.
Realistically, it was whatever else you wanted to share. Some
Mhm.
people said fun facts, some people said other
Yeah.
things, so that's fine. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Jackson, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jackson Ibronke, and I'm the ERP project manager in the IT department. Business applications is our focus. We're the gatekeeper of the system you use almost every day called Oracle, the EBS, where you put in the leave requests, where you self-service pages. We're the gatekeeper of that, and if you have any issues with that, you come to us. And I've been with the district now for 19 years in Steele County, and it's been fun, and I love what I do. And how did I get here? I have a good relationship with all our directors, one of which is Kim here, and whenever I see stuff that are shiny stuff that they're working on, I always say, "Oh, you mind if I join this?" And that's how I ended up here. I just pinged Kim and said, "You know what, this will be fun. You mind if I listen in?" And she said, "Okay."
Absolutely. Come on in. Come on in.
Yeah.
Ms. Millhouse, I'm not sure if you can introduce yourself.
Yes, I can. And I
Okay,
know I'm outside.
thank
Sorry.
you. That's
Hi, I'm
okay.
Dolores. I'm Dolores Millhouse. I am a parent. I do public education advocacy work as my passion work. It's not the job that pays me, but I'm also the chair of the Parent and Community Advisory Council here at PGCPS. And I'm excited to be here. I actually volunteered to support this project to make sure that the parent's voice is a part of the conversation, as well as giving a perspective of I have 2 students at home, so I could easily say, "Hey, you guys, what do you think about this?" And so, fun fact, I love to eat a lot of different I love to eat a lot of different types of food. And so when I travel, I always immerse myself in a culinary experience.
I love it.
So,
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you
thanks.
so much. So again, thank you so much for answering the call. I know many of you were with us in the spring and wanted to return. There were additional people who
Kim,
were interested. Yes.
you forgot somebody.
Kimberly, come on.
Oh, Bonnie,
Come
stop
on.
it. Let me go back.
Come
Wait a
on.
minute.
God.
One of my favorite people.
Come
I'm
on.
so sorry, Bonnie.
Level of disrespect. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm so sorry. That's horrible. Bonnie, go.
No, I quit. I'm off. I'm
Don't
done.
do it. Don't do it.
Um,
I'm sincerely sorry.
Fine. Oh, please. Good evening. My name is Bonnie Rasler. I have been a PGCPS educator for 18 years, all in the classroom. I currently am teaching 4th grade. I have 2 sons who are also PGCPS students. They are both 5th graders. One of them is a small version of me who I cannot any longer stay ahead of his technology skills. He will push my hands away from the keyboard to show me a better way, which had never happened in my life until he did it. My other son is in the autism program, and he also has multiple learning disabilities, including dyslexia and dysgraphia and dyscalculia. So I thank you. I originally really liked technology because I just like it. I like gadgets. I like gizmos. There's so many ways that I was able to use technology to make my job easier and to make learning more engaging for students. And I kind of feel like we've had, in my mind, 3 time periods. So we had like the pre-2020 period where we were doing certain things with technology. Then we had the pivot to 2020 to say, 2022. And now we're in this post-pandemic era, and nothing is the same. Even the way I go at things in my classroom, the knowledge that students come in with, what they can do, what they know, has dramatically changed. So I was interested in being part of this because of my multiple lenses as a teacher, as a parent, and then also because things are changing quickly and we need to keep up. And I wanted to be part of the voice in making those decisions. My fun fact is that my Christmas tree has already been up for 2 weeks because we are those people. And we play Christmas music all the time. If you don't see my kids, that'll be amazing. I did not bribe them with ice cream, but that's a really good idea. I'm glad they didn't hear that because I'll be in trouble. I don't have any ice cream. But I'm going to keep that in mind for next time. It's really nice to see everyone. There's some familiar faces and everyone else. It's nice to meet you.
It's so good to see you again too, Bonnie. And my apologies. But thank you to everyone is what I was starting to say, because this is completely voluntary. You answered the call. Some of you wanted to come back. Some of you wanted to start new. And I heard so many positive things about technology, but this is also your time to push back. Like, you don't have to like everything, right? So this is a time that we're really trying to collect ideas from multiple perspectives, which you all bring. So think about your sphere of influence, whether it's with the students in front of you in the classroom, whether it's the students you have at home, people at church, in any organization that you have. But just think about your sphere of influence. And when you have an opportunity, talk to them to gather feedback, because that's what's important to drive what we do for the next 3-5 years and beyond. So this is what this forum is for, to collect your ideas so that we can ensure that we are representative of the people in our district. So again, thank you for answering the call. I'm going to go through these slides real quick, but I just wanted to put on the table just some norms to make sure that we get all the ideas on. I already see somebody, all the ideas on the table. Just here as an active listener, engaged participant, all ideas on the table. Nothing is a bad idea. Whatever you conceive, say it, right? And when somebody has an idea that kind of might not sound the best to you, it's okay. We're assuming that they're coming from a positive place. Is there anything that you feel like we need in order to make this a safe space for all of us to share? If there's any other norm that we want to lift, I want to make sure that we have them in front of us. I'm checking chat real quick. You're right. The only reason I'm not using an AI note taker is because sometimes when they turn on, you can't turn them off. Like, they're everywhere. So I haven't started using AI note takers yet, but that's my own personal thing. I get it. I see you, Jennifer. Anything else? Anything that we need for norms? If you come up with anything else, let me know. Ice cream should have worked. So, number 1, just a reminder of our committee's work. We do have a page on the website, and I'll just click on it real quick, that's a reminder of our goals, which is what we said. We're just looking for emerging strategies, resources, services that are consistent with our students and industry practices. I hear that we have community members here who work in industry. So I really want you to think about, like, is what we're doing beneficial for industry? If it's not, how do we make that beneficial for industry? I know that Sasha runs a smart lab at Crossland. So, like, I know sometimes some of the things that we propose or don't propose are or can't move forward with impact your students. So, like, put those on the table so that we can try to resolve those issues to make them as impactful as possible. I would love to add your name to our website as a committee member. If there is anyone that's opposed to doing that, feel free to send me an email to let me know and I'll leave your name off. But the reason I think that's important is that if someone sees you in community and they know you and they want to raise an idea for you, they know who else they can talk to. So that would be the reason. But if you're opposed to doing that and having your name on our website, I will not add it. So just let me know. Tonight is our first meeting. We'll see you again in February and one more time in May. All right. So this is from our IT website and from our site specifically, if you wanted to go back and find it. All right. So as I mentioned at the initial kind of brainstorming planning meeting, there were some ideas that were raised as topics of discussion. I have curated those topics. I've looked at the questions that you had. I remembered, there was an interest in talking about differentiation and making sure that things were equitable. So you'll see that in just a minute. But I wanted to remind you that we do have 4 directors, as Jackson mentioned. Jackson is represented here under Claude's shop. So while we might raise particular issues and questions, there may be some I can't answer, but I'll make sure that I take notes of what they are and go back to the particular director or even our chief who couldn't be here tonight to raise those questions. So I'm just reminding you that this is my personal sphere of influence in this section, but I'm here to take your questions or different ideas for those other offices as well. Okay. So again, the topics that came up before were around Canvas, artificial intelligence, security, equity and differentiation of student needs, being prepared for community industry, thinking about the redundancy of various tools that we have a lot of things in Prince George's County. Do we have too much? Do we have things that do the same thing? Bring your own device. And there was a comment about having literacy for staff. There are people who come in who don't have technology literacy. So you'll notice that Canvas and AI are highlighted because I'm prepared to discuss those specifically tonight. But I'm open to other ideas. And essentially what will happen as we move forward is we want to raise a topic. I'll let you know where we are with that particular topic. I'll let you know where we plan to be with that topic. And then I want to hear from you about where you think we should be with that particular topic. All right. But I'll pause now just to see, is there anything else that you feel like we should be prepared to, be prepared to discuss tonight that I don't have here?
I'm not sure, honestly, if this is the right forum, but I'm gonna say, and I don't know if people in schools are having the same issue, but we are starting to have parents who are not paying to replace broken devices.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of being 1-to-1, we're like 1 to maybe half. Or
Gotcha.
I wonder what kind of plans or options there might be for that. That
This
is a pressing concern in our school building right now because we have quite a few who the kids don't have devices anymore. And you know how to work with that when you've gotten used to a one-on-one, one-to-one teaching or using that in the classroom in that way. And now you don't have that option.
Got it. That is definitely my shop. So that's something I can talk about. I can talk about that tonight if time exists for that, because that's something I can tell you kind of where we are and where we're going, because that is something that definitely lands on me. So it doesn't require too much preparation for that. So I can talk about that.
Can I
Anything
add
else
on
that
to
you want
that?
to raise? Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm at the high school and there seems to be maybe a disconnect. I don't know if it's at the school or the parents where they say that the device has been turned into the middle school and there's no record of that. So when they get to the high school, they don't know what, their expectation is they're going to get something.
Gotcha.
And we can't give you something until it's been cleared in the system.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I know that we were told that they keep the device. So
they should.
Right. Maybe say that again, have some type of campaign around that. in the registrar's office so that when they are withdrawing, they recognize that and it's not a problem at the high school
Understood.
or the other school that they're going to.
Understood.
That's even happening when they're switching schools. I had students who came from a school, an in-county school, came to my school, which is clearly in county, and their devices were taken by the previous school before they came to us. So I agree.
I have heard that. I
messaging.
have heard that. And again, we can talk more about that and perhaps we can prioritize what we want to hear. Let's hear if there's any other topic that we want to lift. And not just tonight, but over the next 3 sessions, what I want to do is if there's a topic here that's not in my wheelhouse, I can make sure that there's someone who can come and address it, right? So I want to give time to make sure that we have all the topics of interest on the table.
I have a question.
Sure.
I don't know if it falls under security or not. We're running into where we have students who, like if you're trying to use Hapara and to keep our students on a particular tab or following because of security reasons, so they're not being distracted by playing games and other things on their Chromebook. We have it now where the students are using their brothers or sisters login information to log in. So now I can't track them or block them on Hapara. We can't access it or stop them from using, going to different websites.
Because when you see your dashboard in Hapara, you don't see that student, that particular student.
No, because they're signed in under their brother or sister or a friend.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if there was anything we could do about it. I had asked before, but I don't know.
I'm gonna take note because that's something I can address perhaps with Hapara because that's
So-
an issue.
Is it, and I get what you're saying, is it that they are maybe switching and the sibling has their stuff?
No, they
Oh.
literally have their own Chromebooks and they have their siblings' information
So they're
or
just using
friends'
it to log
information. So
in.
they're logging in under a different name altogether. So when you go in and you're trying to block them from going to different sites or playing games, you're unable to do anything. Because you
they're
don't have
not
that
assigned to your
information.
class.
Yes, it's not.
I understand that.
And I didn't know if there was a way, if we had a student that we had to relocate to another classroom for whatever reason, and the teacher had asked if she could add them, like in a classroom, that particular student to her Hapara so she could monitor what he was doing on the computer while he was in her classroom. And I didn't know how to do that either.
Yeah. That's more of an issue than a topic of discussion. So I will see if there's anything that can be done because the students are just being tricky realistically, but I want to see if there's a way, if there's some stopgap measure in place.
I wanted to add maybe app literacy for parents. I don't know if that's a discussion for now. When I was a community school coordinator, a lot of parents did express a need for support in understanding the apps that their children were using. And then now, as a grants development specialist, we have conversations about, what other things we could purchase to support the county. But then when you look at the usage of the apps, it was really low. So but they're useful, so I'm just wondering how much knowledge the parents have of what's available for the parents because my kids are not in PG County, but some of the apps, I'm like, if I knew, if my kids are in the county, they'd be using this.
Understood. Okay. So I can answer a little bit of that now, but I'm trying not to. I'm trying to hear what y'all have to say first. And then we can circle back. All right. So
I'd like to add, I have a question regarding high school student devices and whether seniors particularly going from a Chromebook then into college, is that And so I'm kind of curious what our student member Enoch thinks about, going from high school on a Chromebook into college, and whether that's, I don't know whether that goes under community and industry, or is a Chromebook the device that's going to prepare our students best for college and career?
I can respond, right?
You can, sure.
Okay. So as someone who actually doesn't use a Chromebook no more, actually stopped using a Chromebook after like the first year of COVID. So that was like my 9th grade year. My parents brought me a MacBook, which was like, but feedback wise from everyone else, and just a fun fact, Miss Lisa, I did watch your creative arts. You did one at Flowers. I think you did one at Suitland. Definitely love the video. And as you can tell, most students definitely like more towards the Apple product, because then it's like, they're taking home the iPads as well. So more students, I do see that, one thing, this is off topic, but one thing I can definitely say about the school system is that, like, now that I reflect on my past, I can kind of see where our school is spending its money. So when I see these technologies coming in, like the smart board and stuff like that, I can see that our money is going to good use. But back to Chromebook to real life, I do think our school system is kind of on the cons on that side, because at the same time, them Chromebooks are so small, like they're like this small. And then it's kind of limited to what, like, access wise, like when it comes to, especially on a high school level, when it comes to, typing, downloading files, uploading it and stuff like that. But I think it's kind of really, it's more for like our elementary, middle school, grade level for the Chromebooks. So I think looking at proper technology for our high schools would be, one thing we can also talk about as well.
Okay.
If I may add to that, from a standpoint of a parent of a child that just graduated from a PGCPS school and just went to college recently, it's to Dr. Stewart's point, it's not a Chromebook, it's definitely a MacBook Pro that they use in colleges now. I don't think Chromebook can do what it is that they have set up for them in college. I wouldn't have had peace if I had forced my daughter to go with a Chromebook to college, like she went with a MacBook Pro. And I've had zero comments on that, meaning I'm doing well in that regards. So definitely not Chromebook.
Can I also add, I'm on this bandwagon, I'm on this train, but in addition to that, I personally feel that the apps on the Chromebook are not, the Google apps are not what the kids are going to be using in their career. I think that we should have, maybe in elementary and middle, we're using Google. And then in the high school levels, we're using Microsoft, so that the kids are exposed to it. I don't know what every kid is going to do once they graduate and get into their careers, but I think if they have the background in those platforms, they'd be much more successful.
Excellent points.
Can I just
Excellent
ask
points.
something?
I
Can
think
I-
all of these things probably lend themselves to equity and differentiation of students' needs, as well as community and industry, right? So I think that it sounds like, if I'm processing in our next few meetings where our areas of focus should be, right? Which means that we can dig a little bit deeper into, because I can give you, from an IT perspective, how do we fund the purchase of MacBooks for, like, talk me through that. And maybe Dr. McCurdy Wright can help us, like those are the things, because I personally use Macs everywhere, personally. However, can I buy them for every high school student? No. So how do we balance the unique needs of our students with the funding source that, keep in mind, the funding is leaving us come September 30th of 2024. So how do we sustain one-to-one, period, right? So, like, these are all future conversations that you can help us with. Or I want to be better prepared. So let's just say that. I see this is a hot topic that we need to go into, but tonight I'm not 100% prepared for that discussion. So I want to be better prepared to make sure I bring you the information that we have. But based on what we see, do we feel like these are the topics that we want to address over the next 3 meetings? I want you to just sit on that for a second. And if there's something else that comes up, we can do that. Again, tonight I can give you some information about one-to-one access to devices, artificial intelligence Canvas I was prepared for when I came. Security, I have to go back. I remember Enoch, I feel like said something about security at our initial meeting. So I have to go back and figure out what that was. Equity differentiation of student needs kind of goes into this conversation that we're having. App literacy for parents, we can visit. Community industry, again, I feel like it goes together. Bring your own device that came up, which we can revisit. Tech literacy for staff. So I'm planning our agendas as we move through the next ones. All right. Okay. So thank you for that. As I mentioned, tonight is really about hearing your feedback. As I said, I want to start by telling you where we are with particular things, where we want to be, and where you think we should be. Anything that you want to address. Since we have 8 whole minutes, we probably have time for one of these topics. So why don't we, if I was smart, I would quickly do a poll, but it's a small group. Again, I was prepared for Canvas AI and one-to-one access to staff. So just do a show of hands because we're only going to have time for one topic and we'll table the other ones for next time. Canvas, if that's something you want to discuss tonight, let me see your hand, whichever hand, your virtual hand or your real hand, whichever you want to show. All right, I see. Okay. All right. AI, if that's something you want to talk about tonight. All right. And one-to-one access to devices, if that's something you want to talk about tonight. All right. I saw more hands for AI, so we'll start our conversation there. We'll come back to the other ones at a later time. So let me tell you very quickly where we are and where we want to be, and then I want to hear where you think we should go. So we have, let's see, let me find my AI tab up here. All right. So we right now, publicly, we have kind of our stance on our website, and this falls in my shop. We have a public stance around AI, and essentially our purpose right now is this is our kind of grounding year for AI. We are trying to expose staff to what AI means, particularly generative AI. AI is not new. It's been around forever. You've used predictive AI for years, right? But now because of ChatGPT that showed up November 2022, now everybody's on the AI bandwagon, but it's not new, right? So let's start there. For some people, it's automatically scary. It is not scary to me. I feel like we need to be in the space where our students and staff are embracing AI, which is essentially what this says, but it does have to be in a measured way, because the nature of AI, in order for it to improve, it has to collect data. However, we have federal legislation that says we can't collect data from students who are 13 and under. So this year we are learning, right? We've partnered with several organizations to help us with our AI policy. You'll see the tab that I have up here because the Board of Education is working on an AI policy. In December, we're going to come back. This is a very rough draft of it. We're going to come back and try to hone in on the policy. We're working with a couple different organizations who are in the AI space to kind of help us with that work. But right now, we have it open for our staff to go in and use it. We've had some professional learning around AI in the summer as well as in the spring. we are trying our best to figure out how to safely let people understand what you put in AI is important because it becomes public domain, right? So don't just put anything in there. And right now we have staff who do that, right? So we have to be very measured in our approach to doing it. Where we stand with students is that we want our students to embrace it, but again, safely. So our initial use of AI will focus around tools that already are approved in Prince George's County for student use, but now have embedded AI in them. For example, Khan Academy, Adobe, who've embedded Fireflies. So we have a vetting process in place. We're trying to design ways that teachers, we have kind of a checklist. Actually, I can show it on our website of some of the things that we have for teachers. So we have, and this is our internal website. So this is kind of our checklist that we are using for teachers to help them understand like what kinds of things to look at when they're looking at an application around AI. So that's kind of where we are. It's a learning year for us, but we are in the process of developing, as you know, our superintendent is very forward thinking with AI. He, in his 90-day plan, has talked about a framework which we are working along with CNI to develop it, to share where we're going over the course of 3 years. So that's kind of where we are. And where we want to go is really to be able to allow our students to use it safely. We want to help teachers understand when they're nervous about the kids are going to cheat. They're going to just go into AI and, well, change your question. Change the way you ask your question so that the students won't have to cheat, right? Use it as a tool for personalizing learning. So that's kind of our stance of where we are with AI and where we'd like to go. Learning year 1, year 2, moving more into the student space and of course developing staff even more, and then hopefully having it be part of what we do on a regular basis, not just to use it, but like how do we develop prompt engineers? How do we develop students who can actually design the technology behind AI? So like that is where we are, and that is where we hope to go. So that gives you an idea about that. And we got 1 minute left, so I know this gonna come back up again. But go ahead. What y'all wanna? Where do you feel like we should be, or where we should go?
So it's interesting that you said some teachers are like, people are going to cheat, because as a parent, I'm thinking that as well, right? Like, I'm thinking about my schooling, right? Write this paper. I'm just going to put it in GPT and let Chat do it for me, right? But I do know that also in industry, people are coming up with good questions when it comes to even interviews, pre-screening, things like that, that AI cannot answer, on purpose, right?
Absolutely.
Because it's
Yep.
available. So you do have to ask different questions. You do have to be more creative. I'm just wondering, how do we equip teachers at every level from kindergarten, you know what I mean, all the way up to 12th grade to be able to ask those kind of questions in the education space?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's something to think through. I've talked enough, so I'm trying to be quiet. Any other comments? Sorry, y'all. I live down the street from a fire station, if y'all hear that. So
I just think it's important to, as you put it, Kim, we're sort of in this learning year, and next year it seems like there's going to be more implementation rollout. But I think it's just important to have some of these open and frank conversations with content supervisors, because they're going to be at the forefront of designing curriculum that embraces some of these technologies. So I think there's a learning curve that we also have to deal with in terms of bringing them up to speed. So as they're thinking about rewriting curriculum or integrating these aspects, typically that happens in the summer, but you don't want to wait till the summer to bring them up to speed in terms of what they're understanding. So I think it's important to get a barometer or a gauge in where they are in thinking about how they could possibly embrace this, or what are some things that the county is thinking about in terms of what implementation, so they can at least get a preview where I have some thoughts beginning to percolate as they begin with that curriculum design during the summertime. So at least having some of those conversations now, I think is important
agree.
because they're at the forefront of now allowing those opportunities to live in the classroom because it's in the curriculum in all areas.
So I'll say that again, we're working with academics, our innovation officer, and within our team to partner around this implementation. So I know she has an innovation group that she meets with regularly to pilot certain things. And then our team also has an innovation group of teachers who are piloting and having discussions around, iterating things in their classroom. So together, I think our innovation officer is working with curriculum and content supervisors, whereas our team is kind of piloting, things with teachers. So hopefully together, it's just tiny groups of people, but hopefully together it gives an opportunity for voice. Yeah. But thank you for that. Anything else? It is now 7:02, and I've kept you 2 minutes longer than I had, but I have enjoyed you so much tonight, and I feel like that little slight conversation around AI probably was not enough. So I will, we're not gonna have the pomp and circumstance of meeting each other at the beginning next time, so we can dive right into conversation when we see each other in February. Know that, I'm accessible at any point. So feel free to email me if something hits your brain outside of this group, feel free to email me. I didn't want it to be a heavy lift to put us in a group chat and all that kind of stuff because I know your time is yours. But I will share with you the recording, the notes, and the presentation so that as you've made connections here. Maybe you want to reach out to a colleague that you've met tonight. So know that it will come to you in a few days. But again, I thank you for being here. I will see you again in February. If you need something in the meantime, let me know. But we'll bring up AI for the next topic. We'll also go into, it sounds like I heard access to devices was a thing that we wanted to discuss, as well as Canvas. So we'll spend time in February with those 3 topics. And we will work to try to figure out, I might get BYOD into access devices as well at that time. And then we'll work on the other ones at the last meeting in May. Okay. But thank you so much for tonight. I'll see you in February.